Why, oh why, does this keep happening? Reshoots of Marvel Cinematic Universe films, extensive reshoots, leading to production delays, no less. Seriously, why? This is just happening. It's becoming a common occurrence these days, isn't it? What is the fundamental problem? It never used to be quite like this during the first three phases. Yes, there had been films that needed some reshoots, but not to this degree. Now, I've spoken about Captain America Brave New World quite a few times now. It's due out in February, 3 months from today, from the time of me recording this particular video. Now, it was originally supposed to be released on the 3rd of May 2024, so it was actually originally supposed to be out already. So that was 6 months ago, but the release date had to be changed because they needed to do quite a bit of reshoots after some of the test screening reactions weren't great. The film didn't test very well, and then they moved the release date to July 26th. After some extensive reshoots, it was pushed back again to February of 2025. So again, that's 3 months away. And guess what? The film is now going to have even more reshoots. It's just 3 months from release, and it's having even more shooting now. So a film that has already had huge amounts of the script rewritten, it's been reshot, reworked, because it just wasn't good enough. And, you know, what we've been getting from the trailers, I've done a few videos on the trailers, it just looks a bit lifeless, a bit uninteresting. I've also talked about how the dialogue is a bit cliched and CGI is a bit, you know what I mean? In my previous video, I talked about how I thought the Falcon and Winter Soldier series actually looked better than this film. This is a Captain America movie. This should be a major tentpole film for Phase 5, and it should look a lot better. But anyway, how is it that Disney Marvel, that were previously able to crank out really well-polished MCU movies during the first three phases, how is it that they now seem to have lost their mojo, you know, when making these films? There's just so many issues with these productions at this point. Not exactly the well-oiled machine they used to be. Let's take a look at this article from GameRant.com. Captain America Brave New World is actually getting even more reshoots. Captain America Brave New World is doing reshoots 3 months away from its release date. One actor said he was among those who needed to do some reshoots. Giancarlo Esposito is among the newest faces Marvel fans will see in the upcoming Captain America Brave New World. He will be playing Sidewinder, one of the supervillains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Better Call Saul actor recently shared that he was headed for another round of reshoots for his first MCU movie. In a video shared on X, formerly Twitter, Esposito spoke about his MCU debut when he appeared for a speaking engagement at Penn State University on November 7th. He proudly shared about his character saying Sidewinder is a badass, and I'm so excited for this piece, before sharing that they were doing reshoots for the anticipated superhero movie. The Captain America story, as much as it's been great to be on set to shoot it, I'm actually going back to do a little bit more. So excited. I get to put that costume on again, baby, he continued. Now, I do understand that big budget Hollywood movies often have to do some reshooting during production. Some more second unit stuff or some fixes here and there. Maybe there's pacing issues, maybe there's some story points that need strengthening or something. Sometimes they need to take films in a slightly different direction, insert new scenes and so forth. That's kind of par for the course, especially in really big movies. But the level of reshooting that we saw with the likes of the Marvels, and most recently with this Brave New World film, it's just been incredible. So much so that it's now on its third release date. And it goes without saying, reshoots massively increase the budget as well, making it extremely difficult for these films to break even at the box office. This just further compounds the problem. it seems that Marvel have lost their ability to just sit down and plan out the production of a solid superhero action movie from beginning to end, from scripting a cohesive and engaging plot, filming and post-production. Their latest MCU outings seem saddled with just basic issues that didn't exist in the first three phases. I would argue basic issues that should really be handled as much as possible in pre-production. But now, like I say, I acknowledge that many films do reshoots, and even some films in the first three phases of the MCU did undergo reshoots, just not to this degree. The first three phases were 23 films. Now, that's a lot of audience data and feedback to draw on when you think about it. So there's no excuse for not knowing what works and what doesn't work in making a superhero movie. And I think the producers should really know at this stage some of the pitfalls, some of the mistakes to avoid. And that it really comes down to this. It's like, the scripts have got to be solid. You know, after the final draft of the script, it should be like, that is as close to what we believe the final movie is going to be as possible. And even though some things are going to change, because the creative process being what it is organic, and sometimes things can happen during filming where the script needs to be altered, and that's okay. But nevertheless, the script has to be more than just a guide. And if things are not working and problems are perhaps being discovered in the editing process that are requiring huge reshoots, or you're producing a version of the film and you're putting it in front of screeners for test audiences, and you're getting middle of the road or negative reactions all too often, you have to ask why that is. I mean, it's like you have to go back to the drawing board. It's all coming from your screenplay. What's going on at the writing phase? Because that's ultimately where it begins. But the negative reactions from test screenings have forced these expensive reshoots for Brave New World, and that suggests there's something fundamentally wrong with the way in which the studio is making these films these days. I would argue, and maybe I'm wrong, I would argue that it starts with a basic shaping of the story. But could it simply be that the creative well has run dry after basically 15 years of non-stop MCU movies? That would be entirely understandable, I think. I mean, there's been 34 MCU movies to date. That's a lot of output. It's a lot of content. A creative downturn is inevitable, in my opinion. Does it feel like almost every permutation of every superhero story has practically been told at this point? What franchise can really hope to maintain very high standards for such an extended period? Is it time for the franchise to take a much needed and long hiatus? Well, yeah, it probably is at this stage, but they're going to keep going nonetheless. Either way, the Marvel Cinematic Universe production machine, in my opinion, lacks the efficiency and clinicalness and X factor it once had. And increasingly, the first three phases, right up actually to Spider-Man Far From Home, I would argue, that which was the last movie after Endgame in phase 3, they're really increasing. All those movies, those 23 films, are looking like the golden era of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and things have just not recovered really since that point. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please hit that like button, subscribe for more, share this video, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.